They made us laugh every week. They were in our living rooms, on our screens, on the covers of TV Guide. In the 1970s, the American sitcom was a machine that turned ordinary people into national figures overnight.
5 hours? What kind of train are we going on?
Oh, we're not going on a train.
They got jet buses now?
When are we going to fly?
What you talking about, Mr. D?
And then, just as quickly moved on. For some of the people who kept that machine running, the years after the applause stopped were long and difficult. Bills mounted, work dried up.
I need help. I'm sick. I really need help.
The image remained frozen in syndication, while the person carrying it struggled to get through the month. These are the stories we examine in 70s Sitcom Stars, the ones who died broken alone.
I don't like to talk about nobody, but she looked like the part of the Polaroid that you tear off.
He was the king of the junkyard, the biggest name on Sanford and Son, and one of the highest-paid black entertainers in America during the 1970s. At the height of the show's run, Foxx was earning $25,000 per episode on top of a share of producers' profits. He headlined Las Vegas showrooms, cut more than 50 comedy albums, and became one of the rare stand-up comics who crossed over into mainstream primetime without losing his edge. For a while, it seemed like the money would never stop. The problem was that Foxx spent it as fast as it came. Gambling, 4 marriages, bad investments, and a lifestyle that made no concessions to uncertainty had been steadily draining his accounts for years when the IRS finally lost patience. In December 1989, federal agents arrived at his Las Vegas home and removed nearly everything. The footage that aired on the evening news showed Foxx standing outside in his underwear, watching his possessions being loaded into government vehicles. His Elvis Presley watch went at auction for $17,500. 8 cars went. His jewelry went. They took the necklace and the ID bracelet off my wrist and the money out of my pocket, he told reporters. I was treated like I wasn't human at all. He owed the IRS $3.6 million. In 1991, Eddie Murphy cast him in a new sitcom called The Royal Family, and it looked like Foxx might be back. On October 11th, 1 month into shooting, Foxx was rehearsing on set when he grabbed a chair and fell to the floor. His co-stars paused. Fred Sanford had faked heart attacks so many times that everyone assumed this was another bit. It was not. Foxx died of cardiac arrest at Queen of Angels Hospital 4.5 hours later. He was 68. He died without a will. The $3.6 million IRS debt remained. The estate had no assets. Eddie Murphy paid for the funeral.
Don't you leave my heart in misery.
The Partridge Family ran from 1970 to 1974, and during that time, David Cassidy was the most recognizable teen idol in the world. He sold out Madison Square Garden in a single day. He sold over 25 million records. His face was on lunchboxes and pillowcases and the covers of every teen magazine in print. At the height of his fame, he appeared shirtless on the cover of Rolling Stone, and the accompanying article noted he was stoned and drunk in the back of a car. He knew, even at the peak, that he was not particularly comfortable with what he had become. The show ended in 1974. Cassidy spent the following decades trying to build something that lasted. He did theater, including a celebrated run in Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. He performed in Las Vegas. He had spells of real success and long stretches where the work was thin. Throughout it all, a serious dependency on alcohol moved quietly alongside everything else. 3 DUI arrests, court-ordered rehab.
I have the beginning stages, the early stages of dementia.
And you've been to Cleveland Clinic, right?
I have. I always said to my friends,
A bankruptcy filing in 2015 that forced him to sell the waterfront home in Fort Lauderdale he had lived in for years. His monthly expenses outran his income by nearly double. In February 2017, he forgot the lyrics to songs he had been performing for nearly 50 years while on stage in California. He announced publicly that he was suffering from dementia. It was not dementia. In what would become his final interview given just before he died, Cassidy told a producer, There is no sign of me having dementia at this stage of my life. It was complete alcohol poisoning. The fact is that I lied about my drinking. I did this to myself to cover up the sadness and the emptiness. He was hospitalized with organ failure in November 2017 and died on November 21st at 67, surrounded by family. His last words by several accounts were, "So much wasted time."
No, heck no.
Oh, you haven't?
No. He's just a good friend of mine. It's a complete misunderstanding.
She played Kimberly Drummond on Different Strokes for 8 seasons, the older sister, in a household that NBC presented to America each week as a version of wholesome stability. Off-screen, things were different. During the show's run, she was drinking and using cocaine. When the producers discovered she was pregnant in 1984, they wrote her out, then brought her back for guest appearances. By the time the series ended in 1986, she was 21, had a young son, and had no clear sense of what came next. The 1990s were a documented collapse. She appeared in low-budget films, erotic thrillers, video games. She posed for Playboy in 1989. In February 1991 in Las Vegas, she walked into a video store, pointed a pellet gun at the clerk, and demanded the money from the register. She got less than $200. The clerk called 911 and reportedly told the dispatcher, "I've just been robbed by the girl who played Kimberly on Different Strokes." Plato was sentenced to probation. The following year, another arrest for forging a prescription for Valium. An accountant she had trusted with her finances had vanished with most of her remaining money. On May 7, 1999, she appeared on The Howard Stern Show, where listeners called in to question her sobriety. She offered her hair for drug testing to prove them wrong, then quietly asked for it back when they were off the air. The next day, she and her fiancé stopped at his parents' home in Moore, Oklahoma. She said she felt unwell and went to lie down. She never woke up. She was 34 years old. Her estate was valued at $1,000. Her son Tyler would die under similar circumstances 11 years later, almost to the day.
"5 hours? What kind of train are we going on?
Oh, we're not going on a train.
They got jet buses now?
When are we going to fly?
What you talking about, Mr. D?
For 8 seasons of Different Strokes, Gary Coleman was the most watched child on American television, earning $70,000 per episode at the show's peak. His line, "What you talking about, Willis?" had entered the cultural vocabulary, and the studio understood clearly that the whole enterprise rested on his performance. He had been born with a congenital kidney disease that had required multiple transplants and stunted his growth. By the time he was an adult, his parents and former business manager had spent most of the fortune he had generated. He sued them in 1989. After years of legal proceedings and expenses, he was awarded $1.3 million in 1993, a fraction of what had been taken. He filed for bankruptcy in 1999. He worked as a security guard. He worked at a shopping mall. He gave interviews in which he said he had not spoken to his parents in 20 years and that the lawsuit had been an enormous burden. He said he regretted the years it had consumed. He married once, briefly. In 2010, he fell down the stairs at his home in Santaquin, Utah, and suffered a hemorrhagic stroke. He was 42 years old. He died 2 days later. The show he had made possible was still in syndication. George Jefferson moved on up. Sherman Hemsley did not. The man who played the wisecracking, striving dry-cleaning mogul for 11 seasons on The Jeffersons spent his later years in quiet, relative obscurity in El Paso, Texas. He had sold his Beverly Hills home in the 1980s after dealing with a cocaine problem and becoming an ordained minister. He moved to El Paso with a close friend and lived modestly there for 16 years, working when the right role appeared, appearing in commercials and guest spots and a touring stage show. By most accounts, he was content. When he died of lung cancer on July 24, 2012, at 74, his entire estate was valued at approximately $50,000. 6 weeks before his death, he had signed a will leaving everything to Flora Enchinton, his longtime friend and manager who had shared his El Paso home for more than a decade. A man in Philadelphia then emerged, claiming to be Hemsley's half-brother and challenging the will. While the lawyers argued, Hemsley's body sat in a refrigerator at the San Jose funeral home in El Paso, unburied. He remained there for 4 months. In November 2012, a Texas judge ruled in Enchinton's favor. Hemsley was finally buried with military honors at Fort Bliss National Cemetery. He had never married. He had left no children. The residuals from The Jeffersons, one of the longest-running black sitcoms in American television history, were still being contested in court years after he was in the ground. He walked into the audition for Welcome Back, caught her with a laugh he had built around a memory of his dying father's voice, and the producers knew within seconds that they had found their Horshack. Arnold Horshack, the nervous, nasal, hand-shooting, ooh-ooh-ooh Mr. Cotter kid at the back of the room, was Ron Palillo from the moment the camera first found him in 1975. The character was specific, vivid, and completely inescapable. For 4 seasons, Palillo inhabited Horshack so completely that when the series ended in 1979, the industry had no idea what else to do with him. He said in a 1994 interview that he felt exiled throughout the 1980s, unable to find work, sinking into depression, rarely leaving his apartment for extended periods. When offers came, they were almost always some version of Horshack again. He did regional theater. He taught acting to high school students. He made guest appearances on Murder, She Wrote, The Love Boat, The A-Team, enough to keep going, but not enough to build anything substantial. His co-star John Travolta, who had played Vinnie Barbarino, became one of the biggest movie stars in the world. The distance between their trajectories was not something Palillo mentioned often, but it was there. He moved to Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, to be near his mother. He was teaching at a local art school and active in the theater community. On the morning of August 14, 2012, his partner found him unresponsive at home. Ron Palillo was 63 years old. The cause was a heart attack. He had been scheduled for a doctor's appointment that same day for a persistent cough. His friend Tyne Daly hosted a tribute in New York that autumn for a man who, outside of a narrow circle of fans and colleagues, had largely been forgotten.
Front. I hate attorneys. I hate managers. I hate coaches. Are you all of the above?
I'm in one way or another all of the above.
Okay.
At 17, Willie Aames was cast as Tommy Bradford on 8 is Enough, one of the most watched family dramas on American television. By 19, he was earning over $1 million a year. The show ran until 1981. After it ended, he kept working. Teen comedies, a soap opera, the sitcom Charles in Charge through the late 1980s. Then the work stopped, and the money began to go. By the mid-2000s, the picture had completely reversed. 2 divorces, a serious struggle with alcohol, an ex-manager who sued him for over $1 million, IRS problems. He filed for bankruptcy twice in the late 1990s and again in 2008, when his debts exceeded $350,000. His home in Kansas went into foreclosure. He held a garage sale in March 2009 and sold off his scripts, his awards, his memorabilia. It was not enough. When the house was gone, he had $10.
We need to get a job, Willie.
Serrano, honestly, I don't know what I am right now.
He borrowed money to fly back, broke into his own foreclosed house, and squatted there while he tried to figure out what to do next. What he did was apply for a job at Dish Network as a satellite installer. The corporate office had to give special permission to hire someone that famous. He was paid $8.60 an hour. He later described lying under bushes in a parking garage and asking himself whether this was how his life was really going to end. He found his way out: cruise ship work, a faith community, a marriage that held. His story has a second half, which sets it apart from most in this video. But the image of the 8 is Enough star lying under a bush with $10 remains, and it is not an easy one to put down. He was 8 years old when he was cast as Nicholas Bradford, the youngest of the 8 children on 8 is Enough, and the show's producers knew what they had: a kid with natural comic timing and a face the audience would love. America's little brother, the press called him. The show ran 5 seasons. The reunion movies came in 1987 and 1989. Then the work slowed, then stopped. He tried marijuana at 14. He nearly died of a Valium overdose at 20. In 1991, he smashed the window of a pharmacy, trying to steal pills, and was arrested.
Nothing is ever good enough for him. I mean, sometimes I just think he hates everything, so we'll try harder. But it doesn't make me try harder. It just makes me want to give up and forget everything.
His former TV father, Dick Van Patten, paid his bail. He was arrested again in 2002 after striking a California highway patrol vehicle while driving under the influence. Multiple rehab programs followed. Multiple overdoses he survived. In October 2022, he posted on social media that he had been sober for 7 years. He urged his followers never to give up. He said staying alive had required every tool available to him, and that the shame around asking for help was itself a kind of killer. On January 7, 2023, the building manager at his apartment in Los Angeles noticed the keys in the front door. No one was answering. He let himself in and found Adam Rich in the bathroom. Rich had been dead for some time. The cause was an accidental fentanyl overdose. He was 54 years old. 6 months earlier, he had been telling people to ask for help. The keys were still in the door. He hitchhiked to the audition and got the job. That is nearly the whole story of how Mike Evans became Lionel Jefferson. He had been studying acting at Los Angeles City College and had no credits when someone giving him a ride mentioned there was a casting call for a new Norman Lear sitcom. Evans showed up, walked in, and read for the part of the bunker's thoughtful black neighbor. And the part was his. All in the Family premiered in 1971. Lionel Jefferson was the calm, curious counterweight to Archie Bunker's outrage, the young man who kept finding ways to make the bigot think without quite realizing he was being asked to. The character required precision and restraint, and Evans had both. When the Jeffersons launched in 1975, he came with the family into the new show. He left after the first season in a dispute over screen time, spent several years co-creating and writing for Good Times, one of the first primetime sitcoms centered on a black family, then returned to Lionel in 1979. He stayed until 1985. After that, guest appearances thinned out. Real estate work in Southern California's Inland Empire filled the time, and he largely stepped away from a business that had never given him the second career his talent might have warranted. His last acting role was a 2000 guest spot on Walker, Texas Ranger, then nothing. In December 2006, Mike Evans died of throat cancer at the age of 57 at his mother's home in 29 Palms, a small desert town east of Palm Springs, a long way from the deluxe apartment in Manhattan that George and Wheezy Jefferson had worked a lifetime to reach on screen. His passing received brief notices in the entertainment press. He had been the first Lionel Jefferson, the one who created the role. Almost nobody by the end remembered to say so. There is a pattern in these stories that becomes visible once you see it. Fame arrived quickly. A single audition, a single role, a single season that connected with the public in a way nobody could have predicted. The money followed. And then, often with surprising speed, both of them were gone. The 1970s television industry was not built to protect the people who made it profitable. There were no systems in place to catch the fall. No advisors waiting at the door when the series ended. No industry-wide acknowledgement that the human beings behind the characters deserved more than their original contracts allowed. Some of these people were reckless. Some were exploited. Some were trapped by addiction. Others by typecasting. Others simply by the arithmetic of an industry that had moved on. What they all shared was that gap between the image that persisted, still running somewhere in syndication, still recognizable, still capable of making you smile, and the life that was actually being lived. The character never aged. The person was on his own. Which of these stories stayed with you? Leave us a comment below. And if you want to keep looking behind the curtain at the real lives the TV era left behind, subscribing keeps you with us.